What's up guys, Belamy Prime here. Today we're going to be getting stuck into a more structured version of our Darkrunner guide video. We're going to be talking about trip combos, damage combos, the skills you want to be taking in your kit, ancestral skills, the works. And we've got a special friend here to be our test dummy today. His name is Dweeb. He is a dope melee player. He has his own YouTube channel where he makes PvP videos, all melee related. They're all great videos, great music, great content. Go check him out if you want to see some more melee action. I'll leave a link in the description to his channel, but without any further ado, we're going to get straight stuck into the Darkrunner guide. Alright guys, so before we get stuck into the main part of the guide, I want to show you guys a new thing they've added to the game. It's not new anymore, but for those of you who are returning players, this will be new to you. There is a skill combos button while you're looking at your skills. So if you press your skill windows down here, or press K on your keyboard, bring up your skills, and whatever class you're playing, you can hit skill combos, and it will show you all the combos that your class has. You just click any skill, and it will show you what combos off of that specific skill. So any of these, it'll show you what interactions it has with other skills, no matter which one you pick. So if you click Shadow Smite, you can see that if you go from Stealth into Shadow Smite, you get a bonus. And if you go from Hammer into Shadow Smite, you get a bonus. So if you want to skip most of this video and you don't want to code through it, then feel free to just go into game, pick whatever class you want, go into your skill combos menu here, and you can look through at all the different combos that are available. There's a drop down menu here that will just show you what gives stuns, what gives a stagger, what gives trips, and how to do it, all that good stuff. So go check this out if you want to further what you'll learn here in this video. And we're just going to talk about the Battle Rage ones first. So the first Battle Rage Ancestral is Triple Slash. Now the base one is just, your base Triple Slash. We'll talk about the two variants and the different situations we use them in. So the first Triple Slash is the Lightning Triple Slash. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. It's lightning. It's meant to be fast. It is just a less damaging Triple Slash, but it is much speedier. So as you can see, we put it on here. We can Triple Slash quite fast. And once we're out of battle, we'll show the Quake one. But the Quake one is a much slower Triple Slash, but has a much, much higher damage. So we can see that the Lightning Triple Slash with the weapons we have on right now is just shy of 1300 damage, whereas the Quake one is just shy of 3k damage. So it's more than double the base damage with these weapons that we have on, which are just poor hero ones. So we can show the Quake Triple Slash, just a much slower, higher damage. It also has a very slight AoE of 3 meters, which isn't super significant in PvP unless you're in a clump. But normally, it's good for PvE, great for getting a little bit of extra AoE damage if you want it. So we're going to talk about the two different situations we'd use this in. I tend to lean towards the Lightning Triple Slash when I'm just doing like 1v1s, because I like to have the fast Triple Slash for when I want to combo my skills and get that one single Triple Slash off as quickly as possible. Pretty much every other situation though, I tend to lean towards the Lightning Triple Slash. It's better in open world, because if you get a little clump of people, you're hitting all of them, not just one. And it just has bigger damage in general, and as someone who plays with a two-hander weapon, I tend to stick towards the Quake Triple Slash, because it has a big DPS difference, and I like it a lot better. Alright, so the second Ancestral we'll talk about is the Precision Strike. Now, there is no question here, the Precision Strike you want to be taking is the Gale version. It has the same damage as the basic Precision Strike. It's the same in every single way, except if you kill the target with the Gale Precision Strike, so if you Precision Strike someone and it kills them, it doesn't go on cooldown. So it normally has a 30-second cooldown, pretty significant, and obviously Precision Strike is a hard-hitting skill, so more often, you know, a lot of the times you will finish a target with a Precision Strike, so having it reset and ready to be used again on the next target is pretty important. So you want to be taking the Gale one. You will see me sometimes in PvP videos and in streams and things like that, just using the basic one. There's no reason to be doing this. The only reason I do it is just because I have this weird idea in my head that the animation for the basic Precision Strike is a bit faster, and I also just like the sound that it makes a little bit more because it's a bit more of a meaty bang to it as opposed to a little slashy sound that the Gale one makes. But unless you're retarded like me and you want to sound different for whatever reason, then you want to be taking the Gale one. The Wave one is just rubbish in every single way. Don't take it. Alright, so Tiger Strikes. Now, no reason to be taking the base one here, because the life one is the exact same in every way except that it has an effect added onto it. And this effect is grants the caster 1 second of immunity to disabling effects for each target hit. So essentially the way that works is while you're in animation for Tiger Strike, you're immune to disabling effects. So if a player was to single target impale me, while if I'm mid Tiger Strike while the impale hits me, it will not stun me. It will still do damage, not much, but it won't impale me. And this is the same for any CC in the game. You can, if you can time your life Tiger Strike in a way that you get hit by what they're trying to CC you with as you're in motion, then it will negate those CC effects. So, which is very, very powerful in 1v1 scenarios, and in group PvP, you know, if you're hitting like 5 people with your Tiger Strike, then that's a couple seconds in there where you're getting a little bit of AoE damage in, and also, you know, it's a gap closer, where you're completely immune to CC. So, really good, really powerful if you know how to use it right. Some people do take the Lightning Tiger Strike just simply because they like it. It doesn't have any outplay potential, and it doesn't do crazy damage or anything like that. And, you know, it just strikes the target 3 times like this. You know, you will end up behind them if you use it in front of them. So if you use it from the front, you will slash through once, slash back through in front of them, and then behind them again. And then some people like to Tiger Strike at the end of the... like to Precision Strike midway through it, so you get a backstab precision like this. And precision at the end. You know, you'll get guaranteed precision at the end. I don't like to do it personally, but some people do, so that's available to you. But I'll explain later in the video why you don't want to be taking that one and why you want to have the Life Tiger Strike, because the range difference is significant. So, you know, the range use on the Life Tiger Strike is 18 meters, whereas on the Lightning Tiger Strike it's only 12 meters, and we really, really, really like the Life Tiger Strike as a gap closer for mages and archers, so we like to take that. Alright, so into the behind enemy lines. Now, we just recently got these additions, and we'll talk about the 2 different ones you want. Okay, so the reason why we don't take the stone one, and I like the stone one because, you know, the animation for it is purple and it looks cool as fuck, but it has a reduced range on it. So we can see the range here is 6 to 18 meters, whereas the base one is 6 to 20 meters, as well as the Gale one is also 6 to 20 meters. So we don't want to take, since we generally use behind enemy lines as a gap closer or an escape, we prefer the extra range. And for me, as someone who's been playing with the basic one being 20 meters for so long, having a 2 meter reduction, I can really tell the difference, and I don't like it. Now, the only difference between the base one and the Gale one, which is the one that we take, is that it has a slightly smaller AoE, no big deal. And every target you hit reduces your cooldown of charge by 2 seconds. So if you hit 5 targets, it's going to reduce your charge's cooldown by 10 seconds. If, you know, it's on cooldown for 12 seconds, then, you know, chances are it's going to come off cooldown. So if you hit a nice little clump of people, your charge is going to be pulled back up off cooldown, which is great. It doesn't happen often. And that's not the reason we take it. It's just a bonus. You could run the base one if you wanted to for the extra AoE, but yeah, we take the Gale one just for the extra chance at reducing our charge cooldown. No particular reason why you should do it, but you can, so take that. Now we're going to talk about the Shadow Play Ancestral Skills. So we don't take Overwhelm anymore, so ignore this. Backdrop is down to your preference. You can take the regular backdrop and literally backdrop, or you can take the mist version, which just turns your backdrop into a forward backdrop. So it's just a forward little gap closer, escape, however you want to use it. It's just personal preference completely. There's no difference between them. You still can instant cast Sunder Earth with both, so it doesn't affect you whichever one you take. So this just comes down to purely personal preference. Now, our Shadow Smite, this comes down to you as well. Also personal preference. Some people like to take the base Shadow Smite just because they prefer it that way. And they prefer the feel of it. Some people run poison in their kit, poison weapons. And if you do run poison weapons, then you can take the regular Shadow Smite, because using the regular Shadow Smite on a poison target will shackle them for 5.7 seconds, which is really, really powerful in against other melees. But I don't run the poison, so there's no reason for me to take the base Shadow Smite. I prefer the lightning one because it's, one, a gap closer, because it has a 6 meter gap closer range mechanic, whereas this one is just used within melee range. This one, on the other hand, has a 6 meter range, and it teleports you behind the target, which is really, really powerful. So we take the lightning one, so basically we get this effect. I can teleport from within 6 meters away for a Shadow Smite like that. And it puts you behind the target every single time, and it's a nice little gap closer if you're chaining it from your throw hammer, which is also ranged. Now, we'll talk about the free runners. I like to stick with the base one when I'm doing PvP. If you're really ballsy and you're really good at killing people, then you can take the flame one because it resets when you get a kill. It's obviously a reduced buff. You get 30% move speed instead of 40, and you get 42 attack speed instead of 64. So you get less, and it lasts 10 seconds less as well, but if you kill an enemy within that 20 seconds, it will reset and you will get the buff for longer. But there is a drawback, of course. If you can't keep the buff up, it puts a very, very, very significant slow on you at the end of the duration for, I think, 2 seconds. So, if you're really MLG, you can run this, but know that it has its drawbacks if you can't bring home the fucking bacon. Now, the Quake Freerunner I haven't really had a chance to play with. It's basically just a non-greedy freerunner that you can take that also buffs your allies, so I don't really fuck with it. I'd rather have more move speed and attack speed for myself, because I'm a greedy little piece of shit Darkrunner. But hey, if you want to take the Quake one and be a nice team player, then go for it. Alright, so the last Ancestrals we'll talk about are the Oromancy ones, obviously. Now, we don't fuck with any of the other thwarts because they don't give the Shaken debuff that we want to combo with our trips. So we take the base one. We'll talk about that later. Just don't fuck with any of the other thwarts. No point to. Conversion Shield, you can... If you like to take Conversion Shield for the few times you verse mages, if you're actually willing to put in the effort to switch to Conversion Shield, which we'll also talk about later, you can fuck with the other... I don't play with Conversion Shield enough to have experimented with this, so I'm not the authority to talk about it. If I do run Conversion Shield, I normally just run the base one anyway, so we're not going to talk about that too much. Protective Wings, don't run it, so I don't really know anything between them. Teleport, now this is basically a choice between, do you want to teleport 15 meters one time, or 10 meters and have a chance at a reset? Now, a lot of people I know like to just stick with the base teleport because they like to have a reliable 15 meter teleport and no resets. They just want that flat 15 meters. I like to stick with the lightning teleport because I like the reset potential. I think it's really fun to play like that. And the 5 meter reduction in range doesn't really affect me that much. I'm kind of used to it at this point and I like it. So I stick with that. Because, teleport resetting is fun as fuck. The next thing I want to talk about is our combat skills. So we're just going to reset this here. Now, the skills we see here, obviously I've got 3 unused. These are the skills that I always run, no matter what I'm playing. I always have these skills. And they change, the 3 extra skills I pick depending on my situation. So this is how I like to set up my skill saver. Set up with these points taken, and the 3 extras I take are depending on my situation. So if I'm doing 1 versus 1s, I'll take pin down and stealth, because you normally need stealth in gladiator readers. And then my 3rd skill that I take is a toss-up between throw dagger, depending on if I want to have the extra slow, just to fuck with melees. Comet's boon, if I want to have extra movement speed, whether it's to use to get away from another melee between combos, between fights, or to catch up to an archer, or to catch up to a mage. Or I'll take conversion shield against a mage, which reduces, converts 42% of received magic damage to health for 5 seconds. You can also use this while you're CC'd, so, you know, you can, if you get stuck and caught out by a mage, you can pop that and save yourself a little bit. I will take meditate against people who play with witchcraft, because it is a cleanse for fears. So if they get me with a banshee's wail or anything like that, I can pop meditate and to break out of it. And depending on if I'm feeling frisky or not, people don't know this, but meditate can be used to fear reflect someone. So if you precast it on someone and then they banshee's wail you or try to fear you, it will reflect the fear back at them. Now, it's extremely difficult to do, and you don't want to be trying to do it too often unless you're just really trying to BM your target, because if you don't do it, if you precast meditate and they don't fear, then you're pretty much just wide open to get hit, right? So you don't want to be doing that, and it does require you to move to cancel the meditate after you've precasted it. So if they charge you and snare you and restrict your movement, your meditate will continue, but you can't bond breaker because you're using meditate. You can't cancel the meditate because you can't move, and you're just stuck there meditating for them to free combo you. So precasting it is not normally a good idea unless you know they're going to try and fear you. Then you're better off just not using the meditate, right? So you just hold the meditate. If they fear you, pop meditate to cleanse it, quickly move to cancel the meditate after you've cleared the fear, and keep going. And the other thing, courageous action. Now, I take this sometimes against mages who are deep freezing. A lot of people don't know, but deep freeze counts as a sleep, so sleep immunity stops you from being able to be deep frozen. It's a good thing to know, so keep that in mind if you're having trouble against mages. And of course, if someone's using witchcraft and they're just throwing the fucking the single target sleep on you to combo off, then having courageous action up is a good way to counter that. Alright, so that pretty much concludes... Actually, I'll talk about one thing. Leech. I take Leech if I'm versing someone with defense. If they're using like Redoubt and things like that, things that like buffs that I want to get rid of, Leech is a very good way to counter them. If they have like the life, Redoubt, then you can steal it as well. But you can just straight up remove their Redoubt so you can trip them, which is nice to know. I also sometimes, I don't do this often anymore, but I used to use Leech against people who play Mage that just use Insulating Lens in stealth and try and find you in stealth. If you can find them in stealth and leech them before they chain lightning you, it'll remove and steal their Insulating Lens, which means their chain lightning won't stun you, and the Insulating Lens that you just stole from them for free tanks their chain lightning. So you find them, they chain, they think you're going to be stunned, but you're not, and then you can kill them for free. It normally throws them off in a pretty big way. So if your ping's good enough to leech them before they chain lightning you, then this is a great option for you to take. But we're just going to take Comet's Boon because this is my setup that I normally run in open world. If I don't need stealth, I'll drop stealth and I'll pick up Vicious Implosion, because Vicious Implosion is a good, nice way to reduce healing on a target if you're in a group situation and they have too many heals. It reduces healing by 60% for 4 seconds, so you can pop it on a target that you have low and then try and blow them up and finish them within the 4 seconds. Alright, so now we're going to talk about our CC combos. Now, there are 3 main CC combos that you want to know about it. 4 available in the kit, but 3 important ones. We'll talk about the least important one first, so you know it's there in the kit, but we don't tend to use this very often, and we'll explain why later. But the first trip combo that we have is Hammer Toss into Charge. Now, Hammer Toss gives us a stun for 2.5 seconds, and then Charge turns that stun into a 2.5 second trip. So you can Hammer Toss and then Charge for a trip. Pretty simple, but we don't really do it that often because it sucks, basically. You don't want to do it. If you happen to charge at someone who's already stunned, or if you just happen to only have Hammer Toss up for some reason and you turn it into a stun, and then you throw it for a stun and then you go in for a charge to then go into other things, then that's cool. If you trip them, it's never a bad thing to be tripping them if you could have only stunned them before. But know it's there, but don't go out of your way to try and use this. It's a waste of basically both skills. But I digress. So the first of the important trip combos that you need to know about is Charge, which provides a snare, into Triple Slash, which turns a snare. Sorry, if your first attack with Triple Slash is against a snared target, it will inflict Shaken on them for 3 seconds. Now Shaken, if we read here, this is what Shaken does. It decreases their move speed by 45%, their skill damage by 20%, and their attack speed by 250. Now, obviously, it decreases move speed, which is a slow. So we can go into Whirlwind Slash, which first attack trips slowed targets for 3.5 seconds. So, to recap, we go Charge into Triple Slash for a Shaken effect, and then Whirlwind Slash for a trip. So we go Charge, Triple, Whirlwind Slash for the trip. And it's quite a long trip, 3.5 seconds. So that's our first trip combo. Very important, very core trip combo. You want to be using this a lot. Okay. So the second trip combo that we're going to talk about is Hammer Toss, which gives us a stun, into Shadow Smite, which turns stuns into a trip for 2.5 seconds. So if you Shadow Smite a stunned target, it will trip them for 2.5 seconds. So this is our second one. So you just Hammer Toss into Shadow Smite. Trips for 2.5 seconds. Really, really strong. You're going to be using this. This is going to you're going to want to have this in your trip and your whole combo all the time. This is one of your main trip skills, especially because it leads into your biggest damage rotation that you want to be doing. So Hammer Toss, Shadow Smite, big trip combo, very important. Now the last trip combo that we're going to talk about is our Thwart, which does the same thing as our Charge into Triple Slash earlier. It applies Shaken on our enemies within 6 meters. So you can see here I am 5 meters away from Dweeb here. If I Thwart, it will inflict Shaken on him, which is a slow for 3-4 seconds. How long is it? 3 seconds. So yeah, 3 seconds. Slow, reduces their skill damage and attack speed. And we can combo that with Whirlwind Slash for a good trip combo. And now keep in mind that both of these are AoE, so this is an AoE trip combo. So the Whirlwind Slash has a range of 5 meters. So essentially treat your Thwart like it has a 5 meter range. Anything within you when you thwart Whirlwind Slash within 5 meters is going to get tripped. So you can thwart Whirlwind Slash for a trip. Now this is very powerful because obviously we can do this in an AoE around us. But keep in mind that thwart is a magic attack, so it does go based off our magic accuracy, so it can miss. And we can see here our magic accuracy is 86.9%. So there is a chance that this thwart can miss, which then will not apply the shaken debuff, so then we don't trip. So it can catch us out sometimes, so it's not super reliable, but it's really fun to use and really powerful, and most of the time it will hit, but sometimes it won't. So just keep that in mind. So we go thwart, Whirlwind Slash, nice trip combo, right? Pretty simple. Now the last trip combo that you should know about, which you won't use very often because it's extremely difficult to hit on a moving target, is your behind enemy lines, which inflicts shaken again. The same debuff that our triple slash and our thwart inflict. It just reduces their move speed, attack speed, and skill damage for 3 seconds. And we can combo it with Whirlwind Slash as well. Now this is another AoE trip combo, but like I said, hitting a moving target with behind enemy lines is super unreliable, and so we can do this here. So we can go behind enemy lines into a Whirlwind Slash for a trip. Pretty simple. Easy to do on a stationary target, but super difficult to do on a moving target. You can do this on a group, and it'll obviously be AoE, the same as the thwart Whirlwind Slash. What I like to do if I'm going in for a group trip, if I go in with behind enemy lines first, instead of just behind enemy lines and then going in for a Whirlwind Slash to instantly try and trip anyone that I hit with both, I tend to go in with the behind enemy lines and then thwart, since thwart has a much larger effect range. So everyone that I hit with the behind enemy lines and the thwart, they will guaranteed, everyone in that range basically will be shaken, so they will be slowed, and then I can go instant Whirlwind Slash, so I can go and trip. So the behind enemy lines is going to shaken them. You thwart because it's very quick to use and there's no reason not to guarantee your trip on whoever it is. Maybe your behind enemy lines the primary target. Maybe they evade your behind enemy lines, so the trip won't go off if you don't double down with the thwart. So I like to behind enemy lines thwart and then Whirlwind Slash to guarantee the trip, or at least increase your chances at hitting the trip. So these are our trip combos, the CC combos, the ones that are available to us. The last CC combo that I'll talk about is our Tiger Strike. Now, you won't get to do this often, but it's important to know about in 1 versus 1, especially against other melees and archers. If you Tiger Strike at the start of a fight or early in the fight and apply Empowered on them, so if you hit a target with Tiger Strike, it will inflict Overpowered on the target for 7 seconds, I believe. Where is it? And we'll do it here just to show. Yeah, so it's 8 seconds. So 8 seconds you will apply Overpowered on them. And during that time, if you hit them with another Tiger Strike, it will stagger them for 1 second. And stagger can't really be comboed into anything, but it is a 1 second where they can't move or use any skills, basically. They can't break out of it. It's just a 1 second window where they can't do anything, and they'll be vulnerable to things like a hammer toss because they can't move, or they'll be vulnerable to any other kind of combo that you want to throw at them. So the way we get this off, because obviously if you overpower them for 8 seconds and you have a 28-second cooldown, then how are you going to Tiger Strike them twice, right? Well, that's where parry comes into this, because we can parry, deflect and retaliate once every 12 seconds. Now, this basically means that if we parry, it resets all our attack battle rage cooldowns. So if I attack Dweeb here with a Tiger Strike, and then we're fighting and he attacks me with, a charge, and I parry it, then my Tiger Strike will come off cooldown, and then I can Tiger Strike again instantly for a 1 second stagger. Now, we're going to get Dweeb here real quick. Alright, so we're going to try and get him to parry us here. We reset, see? And then we go in for that. 1 second stagger. Now, it's hard to see, but during that 1 second, he can't move. And we'll display it here. I'll get him to do it to me so you guys can see. Alright, you see we can't move for like half a second there. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but this 1 second of being staggered is very detrimental in a 1 versus 1 situation. And this is very powerful against melees because you can get the reset, and if you're a dual wield player, it's also very, very, very strong against archers because you can lock them in place for that split second where they can't move and they're vulnerable to you attacking them from behind, which penetrates their evasion. So if I immediately Tiger Strike to an archer at the start of a fight, and they're hitting me with endless arrows and things like that, I parry reset, and I instantly Tiger Strike again, they'll be dead still for 1 second, which opens them up to a hammer toss. That's guaranteed to hit. Now, obviously, they could evade it, but, you know, you've Tiger Striked, you've probably tried to charge and hammer toss them to lock them down. It didn't work out. They got free. They attack you, you parry reset, and then you go on for the second Tiger Strike, you get the free stagger, and then you can go into your hammer toss combo. And then you can go into your charge triple whirlwind combo, right? And they should die. They should die. But, you know, that's really up to you. I'm just showing you guys what's available to you so you can learn to do what's available. So, Tiger Strike, being able to do it twice on someone, very, 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 very powerful in a 1 versus 1 scenario. And even in open world. But mostly for 1v1. Alright, so now that we have shown off all of our CC combos that are available to us, we're going to talk about our damage combos. So, a lot of our skills combo to give additional damage in certain scenarios. So we can see here our Whirlwind Slash does an additional 29% damage against trip targets on the second attack. So we can attack 1, 2, 3 times. Pretty simple. First attack can do the trip. Second attack does an additional 29% to trip targets. And the third attack does additional damage to stun targets. But more often than not, we're not Whirlwind Slashing against a stun target. So don't go out of your way to try and do this, because generally you'll be wasting your hammer toss if you do. Because that's the only way we can stun with this kit. But the last one deals 33% additional damage to bleeding targets. Now, if we look at our Sunder, which is also one of our big hitting skills, it also deals additional damage to bleeding, and then so does our Precision Strike. Now, this is why we run Pin Down. Pin Down gives us a bleed. So, if we attack, it's an 18-second bleed, I believe, which is halved in PvP, so it should be a 9-second bleed. That's actually longer because I don't understand the game, but it's a long bleed, more than long enough to get the job done, right? You want to use it in your combo whenever you get the chance or the window. Now, the window I like to use it is between my Hammer Toss and my Shadow Smite. I find that I have time after my Hammer Toss, since the stun lasts for 2.5 seconds, I Hammer Toss, then Pin Down to add the bleed, and then Shadow Smite before the 2.5 second stun is up to turn it into a trip. And that's a nice window where I find that I can get the Pin Down. So I'll Hammer Toss, Pin Down, into Shadow Smite, bleeds in, trip still happens, it's all good. Now, so Pin Down, we use that to get the bleed, to basically at the start of our combo get it in, so that all of our big hitting skills are going to do bonus damage because of their bleed interactions. So all of these skills all do bonus damage to bleed, and you'll notice that a lot of them also do bonus damage to trip. So obviously our Whirlwind Slash does bonus damage to trip targets. We're tripping people with the first slash, so you know that's a given. And the bonus damage to bleeding, which is also nice. Now our Sunder Earth does an additional 58% damage against trip targets, and then another 34% against bleeding. So, if we're following our combo from before, hammer toss into pin down to add the bleed, shadow smite to turn it into a trip, and then we follow up with immediate sunder earth, we're getting additional damage while they're tripped from the shadow smite, as well as additional damage from the bleed, which we applied with pin down. So if we go hammer toss into pin down for bleed, shadow smite for the trip, and then sunder earth while they're tripped and bleeding, we'll get a huge amount of bonus damage. And then if we follow up the sunder earth with a precision strike, 9 times out of 10 they'll still be tripped, but they'll definitely be still bleeding. So we like to follow our sunder earth up with a precision strike, which will normally finish off our targets. So that'll look something like this. We'll go hammer toss, pin down, shadow smite, casting sunder, and then precision. And that gives us our big damage. Now, I'm not using great weapons here, so obviously it didn't kill our target, but we don't want to kill our target right now. If I was using a real weapon, that's a death for Dweeb. Kills him every single time. Unless I don't crit, which, you know. But if I crit, that's a death every single time, guaranteed. So that's our big hitting combo. Now, obviously, you could trip using something else and throw your sunder in. That's fine. But this is the big combo which brings in the big damage. So wherever you find it, wherever you can manage to do this combo, you want to be trying to do it. Now, obviously, you can throw in these skills after any kind of trip. Like you can thwart Whirlwind Slash for a trip, get the first Whirlwind Slash off for the trip, immediately cast Sunder, and then finish the 2 Whirlwind Slashes, which will look like this. So you'll thwart Whirlwind, Sunder, 2 more Whirlwinds. Now, you get the second Whirlwind off while they're tripped, and the third one, they may be tripped still, they may not, doesn't matter. It's got the bonus damage at least from the second one. And then our Sunder Earth obviously got in for extra damage as well, which is nice. Basically, there's no real one way to do everything. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Press everything in that order and you'll win every time. You basically just need to know where your trip combos are and when your big skills do bonus damage. And sometimes you don't even need to be aiming for these bonus damage modifiers to deal big damage. You can hit someone while they're not bleeding with Precision Strike. It will still do bonus damage. You can hit someone with a Sunder Earth while they're not tripped, while they're just moving around freely. It will still do good damage. Obviously, it'll do a lot more if they're tripped, but don't hold on to your skills in a situation that might still equal a kill just because they're not tripped or because they're not bleeding. That's just silly. Now, one of the big hurdles for all melees to get over, especially Darkrunner, because of the lack of CC you have that you might get from having like occultism or witchcraft as your third skill tree, is landing your hammer toss. Now, hammer toss is an extremely difficult skill to actually land because if the target's moving, it will miss them, right? So if I'm moving all around the place and someone throws a hammer toss at me, it will initiate at where I'm standing when he throws it, and it'll land there when it lands after the travel time. So it will miss me unless I'm stuck in place, right? So what I like to do to trap someone who's moving is to charge first. Now, if I charge, it obviously will snare them for a small duration, which is like 2.5 seconds or something. Now, obviously, I could snare and then go into a triple slash, whirlwind slash, but against a Darkrunner or something like that, sometimes, if you charge them, they might land, a small distance away, and then you're not close enough to triple slash and whirlwind slash fast enough, and they'll just bond breaker out, or an archer will just escape because you charged them and they didn't land close enough. So a super reliable way for me to combo is to charge, to lock them into place just for a small second, to hold them still, and I immediately charge and then throw my hammer. And the hammer will hit because when you throw it, and hopefully when it hits them, they were snared for a split second, and they weren't able to move to dodge the hammer. So you can charge into hammer, and then sometimes, you know, if you charge and then hammer, they'll land a small distance away, but this is why we take the lightning Shadow Smite. If they land a small distance away after the hammer connects, you can Shadow Smite to close that gap. So I could close the gap from here, from a small distance away, and also get the trip. And then go into my Sunder and Precision. And yes, because they landed a distance away, I didn't get to use my pin down, but like I said earlier, don't get too hung up on trying to get all your modifiers in for that bonus damage. Sometimes you might not have the, you know, you might not be able to get it in. Alright, so now that we've talked about our main damage skills and where we need to, what we need to combo them with to get the most damage off, and we've talked about our trip combos, I'm going to talk about some fun ways to apply these trip combos. Now, the Thwart Whirlwind Slash combo that I talked about earlier is very powerful in the fact that you can AoE trip someone from a big distance away. Now, one of the ways you can use this is as a very, very, very high speed instant trip from range on a target who's either not suspecting it or not ready to react. Now, you can do this from a very great distance away from the target. What you want to do, and you'll see me do this in PvP videos and things like that when I'm trying to show off, but you can behind enemy lines, which has a 20 meter range, and then teleport, and if you're using lightning, has a 10 meter range. So from 30 meters out, I can reliably behind enemy lines and teleport and land right next to Dweeb here, okay? And if I do that, I can instantly thwart and Whirlwind Slash for an AoE trip. Now you can do this on a group, or you can do this on a single target. And if you land this, it's extremely satisfying and very fast. And the way it looks on the enemy's screen, because of server latency and things like that, it looks like you trip them before you even arrive, especially when someone with me like 200 ping does it against you. So it looks like this. Behind enemy lines teleport, Thwart Whirlwind. Now my thwart missed then, so it didn't turn into a trip, but you get the idea. It's a long range, very quick trip in AoE. Now I'll switch here real quick and I'll get Dweeb to do that to us, just so you guys get an idea of what it kind of looks like. Thwart missed. I'll turn around. Nice. Alright, so as you can see, the teleport, the behind enemy lines teleport Thwart Whirlwind Slash is a very powerful and fast combo. Alright, so one other thing that I like to do, and this is more exclusively for sparring arena, it's like 10v10, 5v5 kind of situation that I like to do it in. Because generally in open world, I'm too squishy to be going in and trying to do raid breaker crap or be the first person to initiate in a fight. You'll normally just insta-fucking die. So keep that in mind if you try to do this in open world. But in 10v10 arena, because everyone's damage is so fucking trash, you can get away with doing this kind of thing. But I'll show it anyway. So what I like to do is behind enemy lines teleport, same deal, to close the gap. And then I will Vicious Implosion to pull in a cluster of people. So in 5v5 or 10v10, I could get 3 or 4 people caught in. And then I will Thwart and then Whirlwind for an AoE trip. And then once they're tripped, I can Sunder Earth on all of them to get bonus damage on all the people around me that I can manage to hit with the Sunder. So I will behind enemy lines teleport to get in. And then I'll try and aim to get into the center of as many reds as I can. And then I'll Implosion. And then as soon as they've all, you know, come close, I can Thwart Whirlwind. And once they're all tripped, you know, you could do all 3 Whirlwinds. And then at the end of the 3 Whirlwinds, you throw down a Sunder, and you just, you know, if you can move to the side and aim it at everyone that's tripped, then great. And if not, then you can just backdrop Sunder, you know, for an instant Sunder on all those targets. So we'll show this real quick. We'll switch to the other backdrop. Alright, so what you do is you see a clump of people, behind enemy lines teleport, Implosion, trip them all, and then you can Sunder. Now my Thwart missed then, so Dweeb didn't get tripped. That's fine. we can show it one more time, and I'll do the I'll backdrop Sunder for an instant Sunder. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to behind enemy lines and then teleport to close the 30-meter gap, hopefully land in the middle of a couple targets, and then we're going to Vicious Implosion, then going to Thwart Whirlwind for an AoE trip, and then backdrop Sunder for an AoE Sunder at instant speed. So we do that, pull them in, then you Thwart, backdrop into the Sunder, and you'll get the AoE trip bonus damage from the Sunder at instant speed, and you'll be, you know, backdropped away to safety by the time everyone stands up. And, you know, in a 10v10 situation or a 5v5, 6v6, whatever numbers you get in a drill camp arena, all your team's going to pile in on your initiation, and more often than not, if you land that trip on 3 or 4 or more people, you will win that fight every single time, guaranteed. Now, it's super hard for me to do it like fast speed, because if I behind enemy lines teleport past someone and then implosion here, it pulls them back here because it's too quick for the fucking server latency, and where I see myself on my screen is not actually where I am. So it fucks up a little bit, but you get the idea. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is a nice little combo you can do with your hammer combo. So we go hammer into pin down for the bleed, shadow smite for the trip, and then, you know, normally we would Sunder and then precision for our big damages, but obviously casting the Sunder takes time. So what you can do is after you've hammer toss pin down shadow smite, you're behind the target, and instead of casting your Sunder and precision striking, you can backdrop, throw an instant Sunder, and then a fade away precision strike as you're backdropping away. Now I'll show you guys that now. So you hammer toss, pin down, shadow smite, backdrop Sunder, and precision as you're flying away. Pretty cool, right? So you get the instant backdrop, Sunder at instant speed as you're flying away, and precision strike on the way out as well. Looks fucking super cool, and it's really strong. Like, it's faster than doing your normal thing, and if they're not dead after that, then you can instantly, you know, after your precision strike, you can go back in for a behind enemy lines. So you can backdrop Sunder precision, and then go back in with the behind enemy lines, and go into another combo, if you're quick enough to do that. Alright guys, well that is going to be about it for this video. I hope you guys stuck around to the end to see all the fun things we showed in the end there. But for those of you who stuck around, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. I will be putting out more guide videos. I think the next one we're going to be doing is Blade Dancer, and then we're going to follow that up with probably Executioner and Shadow Blade. And then after that, we're going to be getting straight into probably more mage guide videos. So we're going to be doing some baseline mage videos, and then probably some class-specific mage videos as well. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.